Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna talk about new cards. Shadows of the Galaxy is finally here. I'm so lucky, so I got to attend 2 events, even though most pre-release events got cancelled in Norway. A store in Oslo actually was able to just use packs. He had gotten them from a distributor. So one thing to note in my pre-release breakdown is we're not gonna see any Mandalorian or Moff Gideon leaders. But let's jump right in. I got to play on Friday. We were 18 players. We played 3 rounds of Swiss with best of 3s. We started quite late, so we didn't have time for more. And on Sunday, we were 10 players, and we also played 3 rounds of Swiss because we were kind of a tired gang, and it was enough to get a decent standing. So, Friday. What decks were played? Most played Ray. We had 4 players running Ray Green and 1 running Ray Red. We had 2 Han running Vigilance. One of them was me. And 1 Command Han. Then we had 2 players running Boba, the new heroism Boba in Vigilance. And 1 running it with a Cunning base. We had 2 Gar Saxons, both in red. 2 Bosk, both in green. And 1 Hondo. We had 2 more, but I don't remember what they played, so who knows. Okay, going into my deck. As you can see, a few 2-offs, but most 1-offs, typical for a sealed pod. The MVPs were actually, I would say, Desperado Freighter. A 5-cost 5/6 that you can play for 4 as a 5/4 with Han was super good. Space in sealed, as you know, is great. Rival's Fall also was amazing, being able to just take out leaders as soon as they deploy. And Chewbacca was kind of a game-winning card. It's a new card, so if you don't know, Han lets you play units for 1 less, but you have to deal 2 damage to it. So it works quite well with Grit, for instance, Gentle Giant. Or these covetous rivals, or just getting your 3-cost for 2, so you have more turn 1 plays. I faced a Gar Saxon Red in the first game, won 2-0. Then I faced the other Gar Saxon Red. This one was a really tight game. The first game, my space units won me the game, I think. The second game, my opponent got a really good Fen Rao play on turn 5, where he gave it a +2/+2. I think the grapple shot upgrade was able to take out one of my already damaged units and kind of took over the game from there. Also, he had the Client, which healed him, I think, 10 health that game. So that was pretty good, considering I was more of the aggressive player in that matchup. But the final game, my curve was just amazing, and I got to aggro him out. And then the last game, I faced the Han Green. The first game was super tight. I had a pretty good space start, but then he got a new card. I don't remember what it's called. It's a 6-resource 5/7 that when played and on attack lets you give unit Sentinel. So he was able to give his unit Sentinel and kind of pressure me for lethal, but luckily I had a Sentinel unit myself. So then he had to claim, and I kind of got to clear out the board and win that game. And the second one, sadly, he didn't get any good start, and I just overpowered him. So I managed to win the event 3-0. That was really fun. Got 2 legendaries in my 2 prize packs, so that was great. And then just some final thoughts on the deck. Why did this work? I think Han in and of itself is just amazing, being able to kind of fix your curve. So, for instance, playing Rose as a 2/4 with shields that can become a 5/6 was really good. I had 2 of her, so that's something I did a lot of the time. Or being able to play these Wookiee warriors as a 4/3. A 3-cost 4/3 is good, but also then having the possibility to play it as a 2/5. Kind of just aggression and flexibility of Han, along with really good cards. As I said, this is basically a Fett Fire Spray. Oh yeah, it doesn't enter ready, but it's the same body, and in sealed, just being able to deal with a space body like that is really hard if you don't have like direct removal. Alright, and my friend actually got second with 2 wins and a tie, so he sent me what he played. So we can take a look. He played Boba Yellow. So if you don't know, Boba says when you play a unit that has 1 or more keywords, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, give a friendly unit +1 for this phase. So basically, cards with Smuggle, Shielded, Sentinel, Grit, whatever, lets you kind of buff your units a little bit, being able to trade up or just push more damage to the base. And we talked a bit about his deck, and he said he really liked this Cartel Turncoat, being able to get 3 damage in quite consistently. And he also said the capture cards were really nice, along with this one. What's it called? Yeah, I can't read it from here. An upgrade that when you claim the bounty, you get to play their unit for free, and it's ready. So he kind of had some really nice rares as well, with Cobb and Tech, and I don't know if we ever got to 8 and got to play this ship, but definitely would have been helpful against my Desperado freighters. But yeah, he got second with this list. So let's go to Sunday. First off, what decks were played? We had, again, 2 Hans playing Vigilance, and then we had 2 Rays, 1 playing Command and 1 Aggression, 2 Cad Banes, 1 playing Command and 1 Aggression, 1 Jabba in Cunning. That's really cool. I've seen some people actually getting Dryden Voss in a sealed pod. That's just crazy. If you don't know, it's a 2-card combo, because Dryden Voss lets you play a unit that one of your units has captured. So you deploy Jabba, one of your friendly units captures an enemy unit, then you play Dryden Voss and play their card that you just captured for free. You can imagine you can't recover from that in sealed, so luckily I don't think Alan got that card, but he opened the showcase, so congrats to him. We had Fennec in green, and then we had Gar Saxon red and Kira red. I actually played Heroism, Vigilance, Aggression again, but this time I got Han as well in my 6-packs, but I thought this list worked better with Rey. You can see some clear targets here for the buffs. Moisture Farmer is of course really good, being able to bring that up to 3/7. Follower of the Way is a great start, especially if you have the initiative. Then you can play it, and next turn it becomes a 3/5, just when you give it 1 experience. I really liked this Conquer Dawn Interceptor as well. The 2/2 with Shield were great, and of course I lucked out again, got some really good cards. So Poe here is an MVP, and Snoke, funnily enough. It didn't matter that many games, but basically all of my games were quite long. As you can see, this is kind of a defensive decks with a lot of units with low power, high health. Of course, works great with Rey, but games tended to be really long, and I got up to 10 resources many of the games actually. And I played Snoke once, but I had it when I had 10 resources. I often had it, but I had then other things to do to kind of win the game. Yeah, so I actually ran 32 cards just because I thought with a restore, with kind of a more defensive deck, it might go to mill, and I had a rough time cutting cards. I played 1 card out of aspect because I feel capture is just really nice in sealed, and Relentless Pursuit is kind of a way for me to deal with space. I had some space units, but let's say my opponent has a Desperado Freighter, the only real answer I got is Felder Dragon. So then I could rather deploy Rey, she's a 6 cost, so I could play Relentless Pursuit to capture an enemy unit that costs 6 or less. And that could be nice. I think I played Relentless Pursuit twice in my 6 games. Alright, my games faced a Ray Green. That was really exhausting actually. It was so long, we just healed so much, and I thought, oh no, I'm gonna run out of time. But luckily I got to Snoke both games. Funny enough, the first game he played a scanning officer and then exhausted one of my resources because he found a smuggle card. So I didn't get to play Snoke, but still won. And then the second game, Snoke won. Then I faced Fennec Green. I was just higher on curve and got more value cards, so won that 2-0. And then I faced a Cad Bane Red. It was little tough actually because he had pre-Vizsla. So the first game I wasn't prepared for it at all, and he kind of took experience from me. But the second game I just kept my Felder Dragon from the opening hand, and as soon as he played it, I had the perfect answer. So won that 2-0. Alright, some final thoughts on the list. I didn't get to play Poe that much because I just didn't draw it. But he's amazing, of course. He's gonna be one of the most valuable rares, legendaries, and I actually got him in Hyperfoil, so that's great. Other things that were good, Pillage, I think is a great card, more so in Constructed when you can kind of build more around this card. Here, I at the beginning really wanted to play it, but then in later games I found myself resourcing it because let's say I remove 2 of my opponent's cards, that's probably when they're already at 6 or 7 resources, and the next turn they're just gonna draw 2 more and have more plays. So yeah, it was decent, but I often just wanted to get units on the board. Yeah, I think I've said enough. Yeah, I didn't have anything about the second place, but I can mention it. It was a Han blue player, and he had a lot of Wookiees with grit, so that's something that's really good with Han. Either the 2/4 or the Gentle Giant, the 2/8, they're great. Alright, then some takeaways before we wrap up. Grit units are so much better than what I thought. Like, we had some grit in set 1, but I'd never thought grit was a good keyword. But in limited, I feel like it just makes it so much more awkward for the opponent. So I actually value it a little bit higher than I did before. And then capture is a new mechanic, and it's really nice in limited. This is just for that, because removal is scarce already, and just being able to take away upgrades could be a good enough use case, but of course ideally you want your unit to survive as long as possible so they don't just immediately get their unit back. But yeah, capture is nice. I even considered playing Take Captive as well for 5. So I kind of had it in mind in a somewhat sideboard, but I didn't side it in. Removal is something you really have to value when you choose colors. I think Vigilance is just a great color for sealed just because of these two cards. Rival's Fall was amazing on Friday, and Felder Dragon was great today. So that's something to think about. And then just some extra cards here. Snoke is a card I kind of thought quite bad of when it got spoiled, but I think it's gonna be a pretty good kind of staple almost in control decks, kind of more rampy decks. I'm right now testing a Palpatine Blue, and I think it could fit quite nicely in there. I still like kind of like to play the Walker, Reinforcement Walker, more because it heals and or can draw. But yeah, it's definitely a card to think about when you're building constructed decks. And the Chewbacca. Damn, this guy is good in Han. A 6/8 for 7 if you use Han's ability. That gets a free takedown built in. Like, this guy is really nice. So if you get this in a sealed or a draft, consider playing either blue or red, because the alternative smuggle is nice. Alright, then if you want more thoughts about sealed or more just content in general, tune into the Nordic Takedown podcast. I'm a co-host there. It's a weekly podcast, and this week's episode is of course going to be about the new set pre-release. So it's going to be Mattias and I just talking about our experiences. I know he also attended to pre-releases, so yeah, tune in, and of course write in the comments if you have any feedback or ideas for other content you want to see. And that's it for this one. Best of luck in your pulls. I hope you get legendaries.